I got my German test results today. I'm very excited. It was the B1 exam that I gave, or I wrote the exam without, oh yeah, I wrote without taking classes, and oh my god, too much preparation. And I'm very nervous now. Oh my god, I'm super nervous. Hi there, I'm Nikita and welcome back to my channel. As this is the first video this year, I would like to wish you an amazingly beautiful, successful and a blissful year of 2020. I hope you achieve all the goals you ever desired for this year and make this year an adventurous one. For me, this year has been already nice because I yesterday evening received a letter that says Abgeschlossen! Herzlichen Glückwunsch! Oh god, oh my god. Okay. And there are my reports. Okay. What? Yeah, I received a letter yesterday saying that my B1 German exam has been done. I'm glad and I'm satisfied because I've been waiting for this letter since 6 weeks. I wrote this exam on 29th November and they told me that it will take roughly 6 to 8 weeks until you get your result. The reason why I was worried because I knew somewhere deep down that I should pass this exam. I will pass the exam because my German is not so bad. But the problem was that I did not have much time to prepare for this exam. So shortly before this exam happened, I delivered my baby. So I was in a state where I did not have much time to sit on a laptop or take a book and prepare thoroughly. And roughly when I took the appointment for the exam, I knew that I have like roughly 4 to 5 weeks in which I can prepare. But to be honest, I had so many other stuff that I thought, okay, let's just put this exam after the delivery and I can prepare for it postpartum. But probably I underestimated the postpartum phase. So when the date of the exam was coming close, I remember having tiny anxiety attacks. I could not sleep well in the night. And since it was the same time when I was also in the night feeding every 3 hours my baby, I was wondering whether it is the feeding thing that is creating the anxiety or the exam. And I realized it was the exam that is creating anxiety. So what I did is I took 3 mock tests. So the plus point of the mock tests is that you get to know what's the pattern of the exam, because since I did not do any course, I had to go through what is the pattern of the exam so that I can manage my time well. The good thing was that for the reading and listening, I could check my answers. But for the speaking and writing, I had no idea how do these people grade the exam. For speaking, it was also like kind of okay because I knew 3 things that happen in the exam: that you have to introduce yourself, then you have to talk about a topic, and then finally you have to plan something. But the writing was something that I had no idea, and I just had to ask my friends, how do they grade your writing style? Although the book was helpful because it was written that, okay, you have to follow this structure, do not forget about the date. If there is a letter writing, check, make sure that if it's a formal letter, then write this. If it's an informal letter, write that. All in all, it was a 50-50 chance that I go to this exam and it goes into catastrophe, but it didn't. Although the listening and the reading section was kind of challenging for me, but somehow it worked out well. So before I show you the result, that's how the scores look like. So the exam is for total 300 points. And it's like kind of, if you get these points, you are like passed on the border, then satisfactory, then good, and then excellent. And luckily, my score comes into the excellent part. I'm really surprised. I knew that the speaking would be fine because my speaking is actually good. I'm happy because it's everywhere full. My reading and listening is not so good. Well, I know roughly when it comes to listening to German podcasts and news, I understand the context, but like 30 to 35% of the stuff I don't understand. So I can imagine why my Leseverstehen and Sprachbausteine and the Hörverstehen, that is the reading, and the listening was not so good. But I'm pretty happy because I was desperately waiting for this result and I just wanted to pass, and I finally have it, and I just did not only pass, I actually got a good grade. The reason why I'm making this video and sharing with you guys that I passed this exam is not because I want to boast my confidence or want to show off that, okay, this is what I got. The reason is that this exam took place very shortly after my delivery. So I was in a postpartum phase where I had to feed my kid every 2 to 3 hours, and I had to not only feed her during the day but also throughout the night. And in that time, when you every 2.5 to 3 hours have to feed the kid, and you have to always have in mind that you feed the kid, then you have to eat as well, then you have to relax, change the diaper, feed the kid again, and you have to repeat the cycle until everything falls back to normal. It becomes automatically stressful to do something else in your life. And when it comes to taking an exam, no matter how good you are at that subject, no matter how confident you are that you will pass, there are things that worry you. It's not that you just leave your kid at home and you go and take the exam. It's that when you are in the exam at that moment, you are not able to focus, because each time, each second in your mind, you think about your kid. This exam was for me a challenge, not only because I did not do a course for B1 and I just unprepared took the exam, but also because I left my daughter for the first time after my delivery with my husband for 6.5, 7 hours. Not that I had to tell him to take care of her. I had to tell myself that it's okay if I stay away from her for these hours, because the problem with the mothers, especially the new mothers, is that it's difficult to bring your kid away from you. You are so attached to the kid, you're so attached doing stuff, you have this strong bond between you and your kid that you feel that nobody else, not even the father of the kid, will take care of the kid. I knew deep down that my husband will take the best care of the kid, but I still somehow was always thinking about her. Moreover, the exam had very strange rules. So from 8 to 12:30, we had writing, reading, and listening part. And when these things are happening, so these 4 hours, you're not allowed to drink or eat anything except water. The problem was that since I was a feeding mother, I still am feeding, but back then when I was feeding her every 3 hours, my body needed something to eat. And even if I ate at 7 a.m. a heavy breakfast, from 7 to 12:30, 5.5 hours was a big time for me to just stay without eating anything. And I could have probably gone to the examiner and said, I'm a feeding mother, I'm still in this phase where I have to eat every 3-4 hours something because I have to have energy for myself. I somehow didn't do it, and it was kind of exhausting for me to sit for 4.5 hours and just keep writing or having a concentration on something that is going to decide your exam results. Another problem was that since there were these 3 sections, listening, writing, and reading, I thought that between each of those you get a break. I thought that I can write my husband and check on her that if everything is okay. Maybe silly of me, because I don't know, I have given exams long ago, so I do not know, and I never gave this exam where you sit for 4 hours straight and do nothing. So I thought that it could be possible that during these breaks I could go and check on my phone and write and get info about my kid. This didn't work out, because the moment we entered the room, they actually took the phones, they were switched off, they put in an envelope. They had the phone with themselves, and they said, this phone is going to be with us until the end of the exam, which means not those 4.5 hours, but actually throughout that 6-hour time duration, which means that I gave my phone around 7:45, and I got my phone at 2:30. So all those 6.5 hours, my phone was not with me. I could not tell my husband what's happening with me. I could not get any information from him if something would be wrong. I just was cut from my kid. I know that it was in my mind that what if something happens? So what if she doesn't drink? What if she throws up? What if there is a problem in these 6 hours? Even though I knew deep down that this would not happen, I still was constantly thinking about it, and it was very hard for me to concentrate in the exam. But even after so much of stress, I took the exam, I took a break, I ate in the lunch break at around 1. I took the speaking part of the exam and I passed. So what I want to share with you guys in this video is Sometimes when you do things that you haven't done before, you take the challenges that you haven't ever taken, you try to go for something that you have never had, it seems difficult, it seems impossible to do it or to achieve it, but it is possible. It might be stressful, it might be crushing you from deep inside, it might be stressing you out, it might be exhausting, but it is possible. Before I had a kid, people often told me, you will only realize what it is to be attached to a kid once you become a mother. And I must say it's true. I now realize what it is to be attached to a kid. I've heard from people saying that once you have your kid, you will not leave your kid for even 1 second in the first 6 months. You will be so much attached to the kid. It is difficult to leave the kid with even the father because you want to take care of the kid. I did it, and that does not make me a bad mother. That does not make me a mother who's not attached to my kid. I had to take the exam. I knew if I would not, I had to pay again 130 euros. I had to take an appointment, and there will be a time when I have to go away from my kid for like 6 to 8 hours. So if I anyway have to get into this situation sooner or later, why not take it sooner? Manage your time, manage your effort, manage your resources, and just do it. Finally, at the end of the exam, when I was home and I saw my kid, of course I felt amazingly good to look at her, but I felt amazingly well when I realized the thing I have achieved today is something I would not have achieved if I would not have gone out of my comfort zone. So my message with this video is, sometimes when it seems to be impossible, difficult, completely unimaginable to do something, then just step back, hold your breath, think about that thing, let your breath out, and just do it. Sometimes it's good to be a dog, because no matter how bad the weather is outside, it's raining, it's snowing, it's stormy, each time the dog is at the door and you open the door and they look out, they are just looking forward for having their fun.